Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tyra Just Saying Hello. And this morning, our guest this morning, I guess y'all like Tyra, you on twice today? Yup, I'm on twice today. So today, I have the honor of interviewing one of my dear personal friends, Amber J. Harris. And so we're going to talk today about we're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about women's issues, and we're going to talk about the advocacy as well as the community impact that she's having, and how she's influencing the community. Welcome to Tyra's Just Saying, Amber.
Hi, good morning, sis. Hi, Tyra. Thank you so much for having me this morning to discuss issues that are important to me and I think that are important and impact our community. I'm excited for us to have this conversation.
I am too. And so let's talk about what tell us about your journey. What inspired you to become a voice and advocate for women's issues?
Oh, that is a great question. I
I
am
try
a
to hit them off with the good
yeah,
ones.
I am a talker by nature, and just a little bit about my background and my journey. Currently, I am regional director for the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, which is the Commonwealth, the state civil rights agency, enforcement agency, where we fight discrimination and inequality. And prior to that, I have over 15 years as an HR lead, fighting or advocating in the DEI space, even though some people think that's a bad word now. So really, I've always been led by people first. People have always been at the center of any mission that I've been doing. But as a youth, I am from the island of Bermuda. I moved to the US when I was 14, and I went to
Mhm.
high school in Maryland. And I signed up to be, or I was elected actually, in high school, the SGA rep for my class. And
Okay.
I got the bug there, right? And I
Mhm.
ran my first political quote unquote campaign. My friend was running for a student government association president, and I ran his campaign. And I went to college for political science, and I knew
Mhm.
from then I got to see firsthand, even up on the high school level, SGA president, how you can affect change based
Mhm.
off of being in certain positions. Be it like we don't want this to be the school dance to be here. We want
Mhm.
it to be there. So you need to go advocate for the administration. Just little things like that
Mhm.
caused me to be interested in like, hey, if I could have impact here, let me broaden the scope and have a larger impact on things that really matter to me. So that's how I got my start.
Oh, that's awesome. Because that definitely talked about where your spark and your passion for community work came from.
Yeah, that's
From getting started. You got started at a young age.
I did get started at a young age. As mentioned, I did my first political campaign at
Hmm.
16. I went to Morgan State for undergrad,
Hmm.
and when I was in undergrad, one of my professors was a local, the equivalent of a councilman for the county that I went to high school in Maryland. And for
Hmm.
extra credit, he was like, if anybody wants to come volunteer for my campaign for, I think it was like an intro 101 to poli sci class. Like that's how new I it was. Definitely my first semester of my freshman year. But if you
Wow.
volunteered on his campaign, he gave you extra credit in the class. I said,
Hmm.
yeah, let me skedaddle on down there and get my extra credit. So that was my first official foray into municipality government when I went to Vernon Gray was his name. When I went to go get my
Okay.
extra credit for my intro to poli sci 101 class, and
I
I
know that's right. That is hilarious. She's like, I would got my extra credit.
I
I
got
know
that
that's
extra
right.
credit. Hmm.
Look, I'm like, did I get any extra credit? No, I don't think I did. And I think about one of the things I did in college, so I can avoid. I'm like, nah, I better not tell that. Well, I can tell the story. They were like, I went to Morrisboro College in Atlanta, and yeah, I play piano. That's like one of the hidden gems that people don't know. I tell people I use it when I have to. Okay,
What's
and
that about
so
you?
and so when I was in college, my freshman year, we were in music class, and the professor we had for music, I'm not mentioning no names, it was like, if if anybody in here is a musician or plays an instrument, you play the instrument, you don't have to come back to the last day of the class.
Oh, okay. Say less.
And I get up there and get on that piano and play Beethoven real quick so I get the hell out of there.
Get this easy A and get reclaim my time, as Auntie
Yep,
Mac said. Let me reclaim my time this semester and go skedaddle.
exactly. Folks is like, we ain't seen you all year. I got an A already. I ain't got to keep coming back.
That's light work. That was
I see
easy.
y'all the last day. That was, and everybody was like, of course they were like, don't you want to join the band? Don't you want to? No, that's not why I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just here. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Hmm.
I know how to play the piano. I'm already a subject matter expert in this. So let me. I'll see
Uh-huh.
y'all
See
at
you
the
later.
final. I'll see you
Look,
at
see
the
you
final.
later. I had 12 years of that. I'm like, no, I'm real good.
Oh, I
I'm
didn't know you
really,
had
really
12
good.
years. Oh, that's a whole high school diploma, Tyra. 12 years of piano playing. I played piano for I think 4 years, but my parents, they're very me and my sisters, if we were into something,
Hmm.
they were committed. So I took
Hmm.
piano lessons like for a week, and I came
Hmm.
home and my parents had bought a whole piano. So
Hmm.
now I had to keep taking the lessons, and I hated it. After
Hmm.
the few weeks, I was like, "This is not for me." But my parents were like, "Girl, we done bought a whole piano. You were taking these lessons."
It's gonna be
So
for you,
yes, yes. So I've played, I think, for 4 years, and I don't think I ever got past like chopsticks. That's how bad I was. I'm not musically inclined, but since we
girl.
had the piano, they were like, "Oh,
I
girl,
wasn't
get
given a choice. My grandmother was like, nope, girl. I was taking piano lessons, my piano lessons as well as sewing class at the same damn time.
Mhm.
It was like you had with the same teacher at the same damn time.
Oh, wow.
Literally.
I thought, but that makes us well-rounded, right? Because again, my parents were very strict in certain aspects, and they
Mhm.
told me coming up, I had to play an instrument,
Mhm.
do a sport, and do an
Mhm.
activity. Um,
Mhm.
I am very clumsy, and I already told you I ain't like the piano, but I did piano and clarinet for a while. I'm not
Oh
good at either
wow.
one of them.
Mhm.
I did tennis for
Mhm.
a minute, but then I
Mhm.
found like a loophole and became like manager of the men's basketball team and considered that my
Okay.
sport in high school.
Mhm.
And then I did student government, which was where my interest really lied, but they were determined to have us be well rounded, and that was their version of that, or attempt to make sure that we were well rounded. I don't know
Yep.
how successful they were, but that's what the
You are
expectation was.
world rounded, but you in another way.
Thank you,
Now
thank
my
you,
sport
friend.
was my sport is badminton and softball.
Okay.
And I know if badminton had been in the Olympics back 30 years ago, I would have been in the Olympics for badminton because I was just that good.
Is that good?
And I'm good at that. I can hit that little bird. And it was like so funny because I wanted to play tennis. And I can't even remember what was the reason. It was something crazy that my parents came up with. I don't know if it was they couldn't afford to get the tennis rackets or something like that. So they seen this badminton set. And they was like, oh, we're gonna get that instead.
There you go.
And that's how I ended up with
And
it.
that's how you
But I ended
uncovered
up
this unknown
being
skill.
yeah, but it ended up being really, really good at it.
Good. I
Who would
love
have
that.
knew?
Who would have known? Next time we had a cookout or something, I'm bringing a
Yeah, I'm not.
badminton set. I'm bringing you out of retirement.
All right, bringing me out of retirement. Girl, I'll probably be laid out on the grass somewhere
Got a
doing
little
all that
Epsom salt
running.
later. That's all. Little soak in the tub.
Exactly, exactly.
Right.
Look, we all straight off topics. So,
We sure did.
look, I'm gonna bring us all back. Bring us
Yeah.
all back.
Sorry, audience.
So, the audience don't care. They cool. They're cool. Alrighty. In your view, what are some of the most urgent or overlooked issues that are impacting women today, especially women of color?
Ooh, that is a great question because I like how you added overlooked. I think some of the more popular topics, at least in our community, and I'm going to say
Mhm.
overlooked as in Black women are aware of it, but
Mhm.
the greater world might not be aware that it's an issue.
Mhm.
I'm going to say Black maternal mortality. We
Mhm.
often know, or a lot of people don't know, that Black women are have a higher mortality rate when giving birth and having aftercare.
Mhm.
I don't talk about this often now, but I had twins at 7 months that were stillborn, and I had a
Mhm.
horrific experience in the hospital to the point where,
Mhm.
it's a long story, but I went into labor on a flight. We had to do an emergency landing in New York, and the hospital I went to was just totally inadequate. So
Mhm.
when I ultimately came back to Philly and my own doctor saw me, I had to have surgery here because of how poorly I was treated in the
Mm.
hospital in New Jersey.
Oh wow.
And women often and die from the lack of care that we've received, and it's always stuck with me how I was treated in that hospital
Mhm.
until they realized, like, they made assumptions about me that impacted how I was cared for. They
Mhm.
made assumptions about my ability to pay and the insurance that I had.
Mhm.
Um, and at the time, fortunately, I was traveling with my family, so they could
Mhm.
advocate on my behalf in a space that I wasn't, because I wasn't able to at the time, because again, I'm going into active labor
Right.
unexpectedly. It was a medical emergency.
Mhm.
And I often think about, if my family had not been there to speak on my behalf, I don't know what would have happened, because that's how bad it was. In
Mm.
addition to maternal mortality for Black women, I also
Mhm.
think that one of the most pressing issues for us is, I'm gonna say, returning citizens and
Okay.
recidivism.
Mhm.
Not because Black women do also are incarcerated at higher rates than our white peers, but
Right.
also, if we're being honest, the impact to our families when our Black men are in prison. Because
Mhm.
um, typically, even if we're not formally married, there's typically a long-term relationship
Right.
with women that might be incarcerated, and those
Mhm.
finances, that lack of financial contribution to the household, has
Mhm.
economic impact. So when we see our communities perhaps getting unfair sentencing,
Mhm.
um, and these outrageous numbers, that does have an impact on our households from an economic perspective, but
Right.
also just the additional support that we might need in the household as well. So those are two things that come to mind
Mhm.
initially, that impact Black women and our communities.
Okay. And look, and we see, that definitely impacts, and I think about you know, the mortality rates of women, with childbirth, because a lot of people think it can happen only at the hospital, but no, I know personally one young woman who passed away um after giving birth, coming home, was home for like a week and ended up passing away.
Hmm.
And this is about 20 years ago. And when I think about the impact that it made on the family, and
Yeah.
it was tough. And and people were looking at it like that's not something that could happen. Yeah, it is something that can happen.
Hmm.
I'm so happy that, a lot of women are now using doulas once they,
Yeah.
give birth and come home, and, and having all of those emergency people in place, that can help them and guide them,
Yeah.
So yes, Black maternal health is definitely something that's overlooked.
It is. Unfortunately, it's not the sexiest topic, right? But
No.
it definitely is. We're losing our lives out here, are coming
Mhm.
very close to death, and not just for us, for our children as well. So
Exactly.
there's something. So shout out to, there is a package of bills at the Pennsylvania State House for Black
Hmm.
maternal mortality, that we've been advocating for, and I'm hoping to see it pass this legislative session.
Yes. Yes. Look, whatever I need to do to help to get it through, I'm here
Okay.
to help as well. All right. So you're doing so much in the community. Can you share some of the initiatives or programs that you're currently leading or supporting?
Oh my goodness. I forget sometimes as well. I, I do have the pleasure and the honor of serving as the public policy chair for the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Pennsylvania
Mhm.
chapter, where I am responsible for leading our advocacy initiatives under that umbrella. We do
Mhm.
advocate for Black maternal health. We do a
Yeah.
lot of get out to vote initiatives.
Mhm.
I don't care who you vote for. Well, I do care a little bit, but in my role as public
Mhm.
policy chair, I just want you
Right.
to exercise your right
To get
to
out
vote.
there and
Go
vote.
to the polls and
Mhm.
say something. As well as
Right.
voter disenfranchisement.
Mhm.
We should be making it easier to vote, not harder. So when I see
Right.
laws that are being passed or proposed that are trying to add additional steps to the electoral process,
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
I we do work around pushing back against that. Um,
Mhm.
and making our audience and supporters aware of that as well. In addition to that, we've done some advocacy work against the big beautiful bill. I won't
Mhm.
go into all the ramifications of that will have on our community, but we've done work in that area too. We
Mhm.
also always do informational when candidates are running for office. We want you to have a full scope of what their stance are so that our
Mhm.
supporters can make informed decisions. So we do work around that as well.
Mhm.
I think that is all currently at the top of my head.
Okay.
I also
Well, that's
support the I'm sorry, I'm thinking as I'm talking, as our other uh, uh, committees have topics, we will also support them in that space.
Mhm.
So yesterday was Black Women's Fair Wage Day.
Yes.
There are bills around that. And for those that are unaware, Black Women's Fair Wage Day is yesterday was the day into 2025 that a Black
Mhm.
woman would have to work to earn the same amount that a white non-Hispanic male earned in 2024. So as you
Mhm.
see, we're almost an additional 6 months into the year to break even with black males, and there's laws around that, or
Right.
laws that have been proposed to combat that, be it pay equity, transparency laws,
Mhm.
um, and things along those space. So depending
Mhm.
on what the need is, that is
Mhm.
where I will do advocacy work. I am also on the Mayor's Commission for the City of Philadelphia for the Mayor's Commissions on African and Caribbean Affairs. As mentioned,
Okay.
I am from the island of Bermuda, and I take great pride and honor in that. So I do immigrant work there. We all are familiar with where we currently are in this country with deportations, and
Yes.
we want to make sure that our communities are informed of their rights and what processes to go through if they do find themselves to be detained.
Mhm.
Um, I do a few other things, but those are, are my
They are
main
the big
things
ones.
right now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I love that we do have that commission, and that commission and committee for you to be on, to help because there's so much going on right now that
Mhm.
is like so unbelievable,
Yeah.
but it's like, ooh, if somebody would have told me 10 years ago this is where we be, I tell them they's a lie.
I know. I feel like we're living in. You remember that book, The Hunger Games, or the movie The Hunger?
Hmm.
I ain't seen the movie. I
Hmm.
read the first book, and sci-fi is not my thing. I read the first one and was like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I don't like this." But at the
Hmm.
time, it was because I was like, "This couldn't happen," so I'm not really into it. But now I feel like, "Oh, this is happening. Maybe I
It's
need
like
to revisit
believe
the
it.
book to see what's going to happen next." That's how um in the twilight zone I feel we are
Hmm.
living currently.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause that's exactly what it is. It's just like, yeah, I like I said, I never would have thought I seen the day that this is where we be, and it's just like the more I talk to people, everybody wants to leave the country.
Hmm.
Folks is already like going on vacations and not returning, and I'm like, I'm like, did y'all think that out? They thought it
And
out
we
before
weren't
they left.
voting.
But my thing is it's like, we got to definitely think smart, not hard when it
Yeah.
comes to some of the decisions that we're making, the choices that we're making as well, because I know a lot of people made some, choices that they're now beating themselves up about, you know.
Yeah, but
I know they are,
I,
and it's just like, I don't want to laugh, but I laugh, laugh because I'm
what did
just
Dr.
like,
Max say? Chickens coming home to roost never made me sad. It always made me glad. I want to
Mhm,
exactly take joy in these chickens coming home to roost, but I am
mhm,
going to remain ambiguous. I'm going to not comment on it because you
mhm,
do reap what you sow. I was one where after the November election, for a
mhm,
moment I was like, "Oh, I am done with this. I can't do this." It was a moment of
mhm,
frustration. I was frustrated
mhm,
throughout the duration of the campaign. I
mhm,
personally, and this is not an endorsement under any organization that I am affiliated with. This is Amber Harris speaking.
mhm,
I was a supporter of Vice President Kamala Harris. But
mhm,
even when doing get out to vote work in that sphere, when
mhm,
having the conversations,
mhm,
um, I've always said that sexism runs deeper than racism in this country, and this
Oh
was
yeah.
a perfect example of it. Because you
Hmm.
would have the nonsensical conversations, right? Like, why are we
Hmm.
debating if she is a black woman?
Hmm.
Why are we having these conversations? But when they're instinctively obvious, at least
Hmm.
to most.
Right.
But then I realized as I'm having the conversations, you can't make the illogical logical.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
and you're going to continue to move the goalpost. So you can present all the evidence that you can that she has a black father and the da, 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 da. If
Hmm.
somebody doesn't want to believe it, they are not going to believe it. And
Hmm.
now we're not having a sincere conversation or debate
Right.
about the merits of a candidate. We are moving the goalpost as a
Hmm.
distraction. Toni
Right.
Morrison has a quote that says, and that's the function of racism, and I'm going to say sexism as well. It's to
Hmm.
distract you because there's always going to be something else. So once
Hmm.
you prove, like, hey, she does have a black father, well,
Hmm.
no, she didn't. He's not from African descendant of slave in this U.S. country, in this country.
Hmm.
Like, it's always going to be something else, and when there's
Hmm.
always going to be something else, you can never win. So that's
Right.
when I would choose to disengage in the conversation because it's
Hmm.
it's rooted in sexism. That's what it
Right.
is, and sexism is illogical.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is like nobody else is having these conversations when other
No.
people run. They don't,
Mm-mm.
do any when other people do anything, they don't have these types of they don't have those conversations at all.
No.
Nothing is ever a question. And I'm sitting up here like, well, maybe, it should be a question. Maybe we should be like, I want to see y'all Mayflower receipts. Like, I want to see what was going on. Was you riding with Chris? Even if you was on a boat with Christopher Columbus people, like, show us what you got.
And not just that,
And I'm
even
not
if you
trying to
were
be
on the
mean,
boat.
but show me what you got.
And then people take pride on their parents being immigrants, be it from
Mhm.
whatever country, Germany, the
Right,
UK.
right,
And unless you're Native American, you were not the first people in this country.
right.
But again, the way that sexism and misogyny manifests itself, like, let's just go
Mhm.
back to a more recent example, right? Last
Mhm.
week with the DC 33 strike and the mayor,
Yes.
the
Mhm.
vitriol that was thrown at the mayor, and I actually was in support of the union. I am pro union. I thought they did deserve a higher percentage than that which she was offering. But we have never seen in any dispute with the union the personal attacks that came along with that.
Mhm.
Be it trying to leak her address to tell people to dump the trash there. All the remarks on
Mhm.
her appearance, just nasty. We
Mhm.
totally lost the
They
plot.
went past the issue. It was like they
Yeah,
stopped thinking about the issue and started going into, personal attacks. And
it
was
was
it fair?
disgusting.
Absolutely not. It was very disgusting. And my thing is, why didn't y'all have that same energy with the last mayor?
Hello, and
I'm like, we done had like 3 or 4 mayors prior to. Why ain't y'all take that energy with them?
and we know why. We know exactly
Hmm.
why.
And I'm
And
like, yeah, like,
yeah,
mm-mm.
yeah,
I'm just like,
we,
mm-mm. I'm all for, fair wages and making sure people get what they deserve, and I'm all for people earning what they supposed to get, but at the end of the day, I better see the quality of work. See, I'm
but
going to take it to another level. I support folks that's actually doing what they supposed to damn do,
mhm.
because there's a lot of people out there that's going to those jobs that ain't doing a damn thing all day.
Yeah, we do need
Because my thing
some
is, because like
appropriate
I had an
oversight.
issue right now. Look, you're gonna probably be like, Tyra, I had an issue with the picket line. Okay. And my issue with the picket line, it wasn't that they was picketing, it was what I was seeing.
Hmm.
Okay. See, I was under the assumption, and I'm because I'm old school, right? That when you're on the picket line, you're supposed to come like you're ready for work. Because anytime, like when they go into the meetings and stuff, that they can call the strike over at that moment. And at that moment, you're supposed to be able to report into your job.
Hmm.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, because I could be wrong. I know times have changed and things have changed. My aunt used to be a professional picketer, and she used to get paid $25 a day to help
Oh
unions and
wow.
stuff picket. Okay, so I'm taking it back to the 70s, right?
Hmm.
But I'm taking it back on appearance, right? Since y'all want to come at her appearance, let's come at y'all's. right? If they had called the strike and you're on that line and they said you got 1 hour to report into the job or 30 minutes to report into that place of employment, what we doing? To
They
my knowledge, you're not out there, you're not going to work doing hookah in the office, are you? Because if you're doing hookahs in the office, that right there is a major violation.
and that's on the union, right? Let me put on my HR
So
professional hat because
yeah, because I'm just
I did labor relations for a long time as well. So I've had
hmm
plenty of dealings with the union on the management side. And
hmm
yes, and most unions, and I would be shocked if DC 33 didn't have, they typically have strike school where they teach
do they?
yeah, most of them have strike school where they teach appropriate protocols. Now, of course, all the membership doesn't attend, but the
Mhm,
stewards and leadership of the unions should attend, and the information should trickle down to their membership. That's
mhm.
ideally what should happen.
Obviously, they didn't go to school that week.
They did not. There's something was
And
lost
I
in
know it's hot
translation.
outside. I get the heat. But at the end of the day, you're still supposed to represent yourself. You're representing your job. And I don't
And
care what your job is. You have
I
a you is a time and a place for everything.
and I think the union had a lot of goodwill. Again, I was in
Mhm.
support of them. Yeah, y'all get your money. I do think, especially with
Oh yeah.
Philadelphia being um, the
hmm
largest city that has the highest percentage of those in poverty. I don't
hmm
think our municipal workers should qualify for food stamps. I do think they've been
hmm
underpaid for decades, if we're being
Right.
honest. And
Oh yeah.
they should
Oh
be
yeah.
advocating for themselves to get to get a fair wage.
Right.
But
Of course. Because sanitation, in my opinion, they need to make 100,000 because the shit that they deal with, girl.
and
Yeah,
it's the
y'all should get
sanitation,
100 grand a
the
year.
water department,
But at
the
the end of the
mechanics,
day,
like everybody get y'all's money.
hmm
I want everybody to have
right,
a livable wage.
right,
But as you said, um, the slap boxing, the threats of regular citizens. Like
hmm
I personally don't feel like I'm a scab. Like eventually my trash is gonna have to go somewhere. And while
hmm
I'm in support of you, um, you can't threaten a regular citizen for
hmm
dumping their trash off. That's
hmm
going to, and hopefully the strike's over. I'm hearing talks that it might come back.
But the thing
That's
is, it could have went
going to
so
cause.
many right, but it could have went so many different ways.
It could have gone
And
very
look,
left.
we know what city we living in right now, and
Exactly.
I'm not gonna say it on the platform what ways it could have went, but you and I both know what I'm talking about.
You know, this is a city of personality. I'll put it that way. And sometimes the personalities trickle into
Flash,
right. You know, some hands might be thrown. A lot of things can occur that you do not expect, and
exactly.
that's where you're going to lose me.
hmm
Uh,
That
yeah,
part.
I'll leave it at that. I will leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean that was wild, and it was so funny because folks was like mad about LL not performing and Jasmine not performing, but they had to do what they had to do, and I understand that. Not I'm not gonna break a picket line when I know this is going on, but I'm
Right.
glad they were able to get their coins out in essence
Mhm.
the
Right.
following day.
Exactly.
You
Yes.
know what I
Yes.
mean? But but when it came down to last night, everybody was like, "That strike need to be over because I need to see Fantasia," and I'm just like, "Oh Lord, I
They
forgot
was
all
all
about
saying about Fanny.
I
I know
forgot
that's
all
right,
about the
Fanny.
Dell."
Too, and I'm usually at the Dell every summer. Like I need to get my tickets because I'm like, oh, I don't miss Fantasia. I know Anthony Hamilton is coming up. I will definitely be there for Drew Hill and SWV because
What day is
that is
that?
that's towards the end of August, so we got some time for that. You know what? I'll text you after this. We can get some tickets.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, you
goodness!
said that.
Look, I totally
They do
forgot
on
about
August
that.
31st. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I love that. You know, I'm gonna be out there singing off key. So if you
Look,
see me
don't
out
we
there in the
all?
audience, you can come say hi. I might have had a glass of wine while I was singing off key, but we would love to see you.
That is something, but yeah, so it's, I mean, when we think about things that's been going on in Philadelphia, is this, with Philadelphia, it's been interesting the past few weeks,
Yes.
and the
Philly
disrespect
politics
of
has been interesting for years, but we'll go with weeks for now.
yeah. Well, yeah, this past weeks was but they've always been interesting, very animated. I like to say,
Hmm.
over the past umpteen years. Well, I've been on this earth 52, so for the past 52 years, it's always been animated.
Yeah,
So, but it is what it is. I mean, my thing is just at this point we need to get rid of the disrespect.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
But I mean, yeah, I don't know if you're
people will
from Philly.
always be. I'm from Philly, born and raised. I left to go to Atlanta and got a job offer. That's why I came back.
Mm,
It's like if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have stayed in the A for a minute, just a minute,
really?
because yeah, I'm gonna say no. You know why? Because I really wanted to move to Nashville. I don't know why, but I always
Oh,
Nashville
you
was
about to have
always
one of your
on my
cowboy
radar.
boots. And see, my mom's family's from Memphis.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah, they
I
were
just
a bunch of them just came up for the 4th of July. I was in DC.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, but I love Philadelphia. I like I said, it's a city of personalities. I love
Mhm.
everything about it. I like,
Yeah.
they can get to arguing and carrying on, but
Hmm.
don't get me lukewarm. At least I know where I stand with
Hmm.
this community. Like
Right.
they're going to tell you, and don't worry, I'm gonna let everybody know where I stand too. That's not a problem.
Mhm.
But
And
it's
they're
just
gonna talk to
something
you like
about it.
nothing happened shortly after.
Man, this is just how we talk. This is how we talk. I had a coworker once. He was an attorney. He was visiting from, I want to say, San Francisco or San Diego,
Hmm.
and he came to a meeting. Um, and afterwards, and the meeting, I thought it was a regular meeting. And after the meeting, he pulled me to the side and he said, "Amber, why is everybody always yelling here? Like, why was everybody mad during the meeting?" I said, "You think we wasn't mad. That's just how we talk here." He was like, I don't think I can do this. So we were reading about an arbitration. He was like, and I'm thinking, sir, you can't be we about to run all over you. The other side, it was actually the union. It was arbitration with the union, and we were
Right.
representing management. And I'm like, they about to run over you if you thought that was bad. Like that was just, it was literally just a regular everyday meeting. And that man went home to San Diego. I called them. I said, I need an attorney from Baltimore, from headquarters, because
Right.
this this isn't going to work out.
Hmm.
He's not used to us, and I don't want him to feel any additional stress. But I also don't
Right.
want to lose my case. So
Hmm.
please, let's send him back to California. They're very granola, and he was very laid back, great
She
guy,
said
very nice.
granola.
But I need the killers, okay? I need you to
Right.
come. I need you to max his energy, because if the meetings set you off, when we're in arbitration, it gets contentious and things,
Hmm.
as you said in
What's
Philly, can
gonna
go
happen to
left.
that?
Yeah,
What's gonna happen
exactly.
after that? Well, we
So
know California is a different stick anyway.
yeah, they hippies, and I love that for them.
Hmm.
I don't love it for me in my case though. So you
Right.
go
Right.
home and y'all send in somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. California is a different stick. That's for sure. So, but we love Californians. We love y'all.
California,
We
we
love
love
y'all.
to
We love
visit.
y'all. We
We love
love
to
y'all.
visit. But then
We
they
love
get
y'all.
close aggressive when we go out there. I'm sure if we went out there, and I definitely like visiting my family in Memphis. It's the South. They're very soft spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can be very like, well, what is going on? And da 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 da. And I remember
Hmm.
I was hooking up a rental car, and the girl, she was moving too slow for me. So
Hmm.
I'm about to get started. Then she looked at me like I was crazy, and I said, "Am I acting crazy?" And I realized she's just not used to. It
They
was just a
slump. They.
rapid fire amount of questions. I said,
Hmm.
"Amber, relax.
Hmm.
Use your soft voice. You are not in Philadelphia right now
Hmm.
to get what you want." And that's what I had to do. She responded much better when I
Yeah, we
softened that
definitely have to.
tone.
We have
Right?
to
Because
get
I'm thinking it's
calm.
normal, and she's
Hmm.
like, "This lady is nuts."
Hey, you're not nuts. It's just
Yes,
that.
I'm just to the point. But let me
Hmm.
let me let me put a bow on it right now. I'm still gonna
Hmm.
beat this to the point, but let me put a bow on it.
Yes. Yes. And so, how can people get involved and support the work that you're doing?
Oh, thank you for that question. I like to think and make advocacy relatable. A
Okay.
lot of people think that it requires, like, you need to have a vast knowledge of the inner workings of city council, or you need to go to the state and you need to study under somebody, or you have to know
Mhm,
somebody. You don't need any of that.
mhm.
All you really
Okay.
need is a big mouth like me. But if you don't have a big mouth, that's fine too. All you need
Mhm,
is an email address, a postcard, a pen, and a stamp. And what you do is, and these are, I've mentioned initiatives that are important to me. And of course, you can,
mhm,
if you do visit my social media, I regularly post about issues of importance to my community and how you can get
mhm.
involved in that. But I want people to identify what's important to them. And
Mm,
I can almost guarantee you that there is a piece of legislation or something going on around that that you should
mhm,
be calling your local elected official about. And
mhm,
even if you don't know what the bill is, you don't have to. Like, I might know how to go and look up what's on the proposed agenda for city council today and sign up to do
mhm.
public testimony. But
Right.
that's me. I'm at this point, I'm going to say I'm a subject matter expert. You don't need to be a subject matter expert for that. If you see
Right.
something in your community that bothers you, pick
Mhm,
up the phone,
mhm,
Google. We all got these $2,000 cell phones in our hands. Go right to Google, go to Safari, Google who's my state rep, who's my city
mhm,
council member,
mhm,
who's my mayor, wherever your issue is, and call their office and say, "Hey, the tree in my neighborhood is leaning over, and I think the wires are about to be fall down.
mhm.
Somebody needs to come do something about that." That is
Right.
advocacy. If you see that your local school, or you feel like your local school is underfunded, you can make a
Mhm,
call about that, and it doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to
mhm.
be anything. Actually, I think plain language is what's best.
Right.
Express what your concern is, make it personal and how it's impacting you, and reach out and do something about it. And again, you can do that via calling the office. You can shoot them an email. I
Mhm,
always encourage people to go out to the local town halls.
mhm.
Um, Again, if you can go to city council, and I know most people won't do that, it's during the day. Typically, public
Mhm.
hearings are on Thursday, or public session is on Thursdays during the
Thursdays.
day. My
Mhm.
job allows for the flexibility for that. Everybody
Okay.
does not. But the
Mhm,
mayor also has many city halls. I don't know if people know that. They're out, I think there are about 10 throughout, and I'm talking about Philadelphia, but a lot of
mhm.
municipalities have this. This isn't just
Right.
applicable to Philly.
Right.
You should be going to those and expressing and asking for help. These are your tax dollars. Um,
Yeah.
and I think most elected officials want to help, but they can't be everywhere. It would be
Right.
physically impossible. They need the
Mhm.
community to give feedback on what their concerns are and what the needs are so that they can better do their jobs for us.
Right. Because I know I always tell people to, I always send people to go to their council people. Go to your councilmen, go to your senators and ask, for help. And people look at me like I'm crazy. And I'm
Mm,
like, well, you don't want the help bad enough because at the end of the day, if you really wanted it bad enough, you would be there doing what you need to do to get done what you are requesting others to do.
I think people are intimidated about that
They are.
process
They
because they're
are.
like, I can't talk to the council. Like, I can't. No, they're like,
Hmm.
I'm not anybody what they feel is a importance. But you're a
Hmm.
constituent. They are elected to represent you, even if you didn't vote
Right.
for them. It's still their job to
Right.
represent you. And
Hmm.
it shouldn't be intimidating.
But,
And if you
but you
need
know
help
what?
doing it, crafting a
But,
message,
hmm.
I, I'm always willing to help somebody in that sphere because I know that it can be intimidating when it's the
Right.
first time.
Hmm.
But I want to normalize it. And that's why I try to be very relatable in my
Hmm.
advocacy work when presenting it to people because it doesn't need to be a thing. Just
Right.
come on, we'll get you started. This is what the conversation should look like. You don't need to
Hmm.
use big SAT words. Just speak
Right.
from the heart, speak what you're seeing and
Hmm.
take it from there.
Yep. I love that. I love that. So, what is next for you? What projects you got coming up? Any projects, campaigns, or visions on the horizon that we should know about?
I'm working on a few things. I don't
Oh,
know if I'm ready to launch them yet because I am
okay.
working on a few things.
Well, take your
Um,
time.
I will say I am interested in Philadelphia. Our Congressman Dwight Evans just announced that he will not be seeking reelection. I'm
Right.
looking to get involved in that space with a
Okay.
candidate of my choice that I'm looking to support.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
also,
Okay.
yeah, I'm also planning a with a friend a civic series, like a conversations to again make advocacy and the civic process more
Hmm.
relatable. So we're looking to launch that in August. Um,
Okay.
so I'll send you those further details. And again, if you go to my social media, which is scrolling at the bottom, we'll have further information about that. We're
Hmm.
really ramping that up, leading up to the general election in November, and then
Okay.
looking to do something bi-monthly. And that won't just be around politics itself. That'll also
Hmm.
be the pardon process if somebody has issues with the court system, which we all
Hmm.
know that you might not have regular interaction with the council
Right.
person or the mayor or your state rep, but if
Hmm.
not yourself, someone you love has been impacted by the judicial system, and they might
Right.
need some help navigating that. Or if you made a mistake in the past and you paid your debt to society and you're looking to get that expunged for your record, there is a
Hmm.
process for that in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So some
Hmm.
work around how to navigate that. We are
Hmm.
also going to do some work on if you are interested in giving public testimony, especially around budget season. A lot of people don't tap into the process when budgets are going on, but
Right.
budgets they are a moral document. Where we spend our money lets us know where our priorities lie, and most don't get involved in expressing like, "Hey, I think we should spend more money here." Or requesting money for organizations that they think are important. So we want to equip people for that as well. So those are the little things that
Right.
big impact that we're trying to
Hmm.
inform the community on, that we're
Hmm.
looking to do the civic series on. So be on the
Oh,
lookout for that. That's my next big project in the
well,
first
I'm going to
few
be on the
years.
lookout for that. And so when people hear your name, Amber Harris, in 10 years, what do you want them to remember? What do you want them to say?
Ooh, legacy building. I want them to say several things. Uh,
Hmm.
I consider this work to be a form of ministry. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian,
Hmm.
and I think that I've been called to do it to help somebody. I sincerely love watching others do what they love to do.
Right.
And if one of my gifts or my talents is the ability to navigate these spaces and others don't
Hmm.
have the ability to do so, um, I think it's my obligation to help them navigate it and put them in position. There's no there's I'm not doing my job if
Hmm.
I have proximity to power or these things and I'm not pulling somebody up behind me and showing them how to do it, because it's
Hmm.
useless if I if somebody else, if I'm the only person that has the knowledge that I have.
Right.
I also want my legacy to be that I always center people.
Hmm.
Um, I know I've been extended grace in areas that I didn't always deserve it. So there
Okay.
is always grace for those that seek it. So I would like to be known as a soft landing place for those who perhaps didn't know, weren't comfortable
Hmm.
in certain spaces or expressing certain things or being vulnerable in that space. I would always
Hmm.
want those that feel that way to know that I am a soft space. This is always a judgment free zone, because
Hmm.
I've been extended that by others in my past still. So
Okay.
that's what I think my legacy could. Nothing big, nothing crazy.
No,
I just want to
I
be
love
known
it.
as she tried her best. 99 and a half won't do, as Hezekiah Walker said. She
I'm gonna
did her
say
best.
I'm not gonna say you tried your best. You did in doing your best.
Thank you.
Because
Thank
we
you.
always use that T word of trying when we don't realize we're not just trying, we're doing. And
Mhm.
so, you know, I would be wrong to not ask, what are you doing for self care? Because you do
Ooh,
so much for so many people. How are you managing your self care?
I I schedule everything, and
Nice.
that does include self-care. Like, I will intentionally block off time on my calendars where, like,
Hmm.
okay, this Sunday, I'm not doing anything. Now,
Hmm.
it's always on the calendar. I might get
Hmm.
sucked into something, but the
Hmm.
something is going to be non-work related.
Okay.
Um, it might be spending time with friends. I do love to travel. I do
Hmm.
try to do trips often. Before my current role, I actually worked for an airline, so I would be out for work and for pleasure. Like it was nothing like,
What'd you
oh
say?
girl, let
On
me
the
go to
road.
yes, let me go to Miami for lunch. And like in the morning and come back and yes, that's how
No,
that
you
happened.
did. No, you
Yeah, I absolutely did. So that's another thing. And I try to
didn't.
manage my honestly, this is this is me being honest. I don't always do the best job of it, but I try to outsource as much as possible. I have
Okay.
a cleaning lady. I'm a single woman. I don't have any children. But when I do have free time, I don't want to spend it cleaning the house. So my cleaning
I
lady
understand.
comes. And
Mhm.
that's a way that I practice self-care
Mhm.
because honestly, she probably she is better at it than I am.
Mhm.
And it's something I don't have to worry about. I want women to feel empowered. Like if you ain't good at cooking, get somebody to make the pre-made meals and do the
Yeah.
cooking
Do
for
your
you.
stay in your lane.
Yes, if you can afford it, women,
Mhm.
and especially Black women, I'm talking to you.
Mhm.
You don't need to feel as though you need to take everything on, and don't let anybody guilt trip you into doing it. I was
Mhm.
dating someone a few years ago, and we do a deep clean at least
Mhm.
for New Year's Eve, and I hired my housekeeper. Like she comes
Mhm.
every other week for the regular
Mhm.
clean, but once a quarter I have her do a deep clean.
Okay.
So it was the end of the year, so we about to do the deep clean because even though I'm not doing it, I got a big mama. I got we cleaning the house for New Year's, so we
Mhm.
go into the New Year's clean, and I let this man talk me out of having her. He was like, "We can do it. You don't need to have her come and blah 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 blah." Guess who was ended up doing the cleaning that I didn't want to do, and the we was nowhere to be found. I said,
You.
"Yeah, exactly."
You can't
So
listen to
just
nobody.
yeah, that's why I said I've been hoodwinked.
Bamboozled and wood. Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't. Clearly, I'm no longer with that man.
Mhm. That's why
But
he's.
I
That's why
also
he's not around.
that is why he is not around. Well, there's multiple reasons why he's not around. But that to me was
Mhm.
a reminder that I
Mhm.
don't need to feel guilty about getting help
Things.
if I need help. If
Mhm.
shoot, if I don't want to do it, I don't want to do
You
it,
ain't
and I
got to
don't have
do it.
to do it. And that's
Right.
that on that.
Yeah, you don't have to feel guilty. And that's, the thing is, choose you. And that's
Hmm.
what I tell everybody. Choose yourself before anything else, and being able to, make those decisions. If, stay in your lane, know what your lane is and be able to stay in it and be comfortable in your lane
Yeah,
because people will always tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But my thing is, before you give that advice, what are you doing?
yeah, exactly.
Tell
What
me
are
what
you
you
doing?
doing first. What are you doing? Let me know
Hmm.
what you doing. And if you're not doing it, then you just no advice you can offer me.
And yeah, if you're not doing, and I'm always receptive to constructive criticism, but
Hmm.
make sure that it's criticism. Don't be criticizing from the bench and you're not doing anything. There's always areas to improve, but there's a
Right.
difference between a fair critique and
Hmm.
you just trying to nitpick
You ain't got
because
shit
you don't
else to
like
do.
me. Right, you don't like me. And that's okay.
Hmm.
You don't have to like me. I probably won't even
Hmm.
notice, honestly, if you don't like me. I'd be in my own world. Like you got to make it very
I
like
won't even notice.
you got to cuss me out for me to even notice that
Yeah.
I won't even say that we got beef because you can't
Like
beef
I
with
don't know
somebody
what we
that ain't
got.
noticing. You might be mad, but
Right,
I
and
don't
that's it.
care. So it ain't no beef. So you just mad.
Yeah, that is funny. Well, this was awesome. This was a great conversation. I know
Yes,
y'all
thank
probably like y'all was all over the place, but
you.
look, this is what we do. When people be talking, when girlfriends be talking, child, we be all over the place talking about everything.
As we
I
should.
mean, we could go on about a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, but we not. Look,
We won't. I mean, we could do a part two later, and we'll get you
yeah,
all in my business. We
yeah,
won't go
look,
another
look,
relationship route. Then we'll be here for another 2 hours.
you know what? Look, child, 2, 3, look, add my craft in, look, 2, 3, 4.
How about that?
Yep, but I thank you so much for spending this morning with me today, Amber, and discussing women's advocacy and things that's going on here in Philadelphia and providing insight to everyone and letting them know about the resources that's out there, not only in our city, but knowing to utilize their own respected cities as well to get the help that they need, and learning who to partner with. So I greatly appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I definitely enjoyed our dialogue. If anybody is looking for me, as you see at the bottom, you can find me on social media at Amber J.E. Harris on Facebook or Amber in Philly in all other social media platforms. I enjoyed our discussion today.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on. Well, I
Thank
want all of you, thank you all for watching us today. God bless. And I will see y'all next week when I have two interviews next Friday. I'm going to say next Friday, y'all, because y'all know my crazy behind likely to be on Sunday, but I know I will be on. I know I'm on Friday, y'all. So God bless all of y'all and see y'all soon.
you. Yeah.
Hang on.
Only know I want the best of us. So